If you fancy a soothing and warm chicken soup with all the health benefits that come with it, this is the recipe for you. Complete with a nutrient-dense broth, this soup incorporates carrots, celery, onions, potatoes, and a hint of tang from the added lemons. And as always, you have the option to spice it up with added chili peppers. This dish is also a firm favorite in the Turkish cuisine and is called tavuk haşlama. I highly recommend you give it a try as it is so good for you and delicious. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead to receive new recipes which I post weekly. This is what you'll need. All the details are also in the video description. Let's get started. You'll need to remove all the skin and fat from about 1 kilogram of chicken thighs. You can leave the meat on the bone or remove from the bones if you prefer. Divide into smaller pieces. I've managed to get approximately 3 pieces out of each thigh. Removing the skin and fat will result in a lighter and healthier broth, as keeping them makes the dish a bit on the heavy side. Also, you can use chicken breast or any other meat if that's what you have handy. That also works for this recipe. I'm a fan of the lamb version of this dish and I hope to post a recipe for that soon on my channel, so look out for that in the near future. As you prepare the meat, have a nearby saucepan ready to place the meat into as you go along. Once all the chicken has been skinned and chopped into pieces, cover them with boiling water and place on the stove for approximately half an hour or until you see the scum appearing on the top. In the meantime, prepare the vegetables. Chop the carrots into diagonal strips as shown, leaving them quite chunky, but make sure they're all roughly about the same size. Repeat with the 3 celery sticks. Place on a plate and put aside. Next, cut into quarters 3 onions. If you prefer, you can use small onions and leave them whole. Likewise, if you use particularly large ones, use less and divide into more pieces. Wash, then scrape or peel the potatoes. I've used baby potatoes which work particularly well with this dish and have simply scraped them. Cut into bite-sized pieces. These baby potatoes were fine just to be halved. Work with what you've got, cutting into quarters if necessary. Keep checking on the chicken and after about half an hour the scum should have surfaced. This is a sign that you can remove the chicken from the water. We're not trying to cook the chicken at this point, only to remove the dirt so that you can have a nice clear broth. Drain the chicken and put aside. Continue preparing the rest of the ingredients. Finally chop approximately 5 garlic cloves. Add more if you particularly like garlic. Then if you're anything like my family, chili peppers are a must in most dishes and this one's no exception. Turn up the heat according to your own taste by adding peppers of your choice. I've added 3 chili peppers. Remove the seeds and chop finely. Add them to the plate with the garlic. That's all the vegetables prepared. Time to start putting this soup together. Melt 50 grams of butter in a large saucepan. Add a drop of olive oil to the pan and when the butter has melted, add the onions. Saute on medium to high heat, then add the garlic and peppers. Stir continuously. When the onions have softened, add the chopped carrots and celery. Stir to cover the vegetables with the butter and the olive oil. After a few minutes of stirring on low to medium heat, add the bay leaves. Depending on the size of the leaves, you could need up to 4. If they are large, use less. Then add the chicken. Gently fold in, paying attention not to overstir and break up the chicken. We want them to retain their shape. Then add the seasoning. I've used 1 teaspoon of black pepper and turmeric and a tablespoon of salt. Continue gently folding in on low to medium heat until you start noticing the turmeric has evenly been distributed as the colour of the soup starts to develop. Then add 2 litres of boiling water. Gently stir to evenly distribute the ingredients, then cover and allow to simmer for half an hour. Stir from time to time, then after half an hour add the potatoes. Gently distribute the potatoes around the pan and cover and cook for a further half an hour or until the potatoes are tender. There's the option to add some dry or fresh parsley to the pan, or you could just use parsley to garnish when serving. Also, if you find that you need to add more water, use boiling water to make sure the potatoes are covered. I've added an additional 200 ml. When the potatoes have been cooking for about 15 minutes, to slightly thicken the broth, mix 60 ml of cold water with the juice of 2 lemons and 2 tablespoons of flour. Use a whisk to remove any lumps. Take some of the soup liquid and gradually add it to the flour mix to climatize it with the soup. Add a little at a time to avoid lumps forming. When you've reached the correct temperature and the consistency is smooth, add the mixture to the pan. Gently mix with the rest of the liquid in the pan. Continue to simmer for a further 15 minutes or until the potatoes are cooked through, then the soup is ready for serving. This is truly a delicious and hearty soup which will go down a treat. I hope you'll give it a try and let me know what you think. Garnish with some parsley before serving with some scrumptious fresh bread. Check out my recipes for homemade bread at the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more delicious recipes posted weekly. Afiyet olsun.